Have you ever stood in a grocery aisle, holding a box of tea or a bag of superfood powder, and just felt completely disconnected? You see the words organic or natural, but it feels like marketing fluff. Like there's a wall between you and where that food actually came from.
Oh, absolutely. It's the modern consumer paradox. We have more access to healthy food than ever before, yet we have never been more alienated from the source. We treat food like software, just inputs and outputs. Calories in, energy out. But we forget that food is actually hardware. It's physical, it comes from the dirt, it has a history.
That is such a vivid way to put it. Food as hardware. And that brings us to what we're digging into today. We are looking at a specific case study in the world of wellness Ceylon plant food. On the surface, it's a brand selling tea, spices, and superfoods from Sri Lanka. But when you peel back the layers, it feels like they aren't just selling a product. They are selling a philosophy.
Right? And that philosophy is authenticity. I know, that word gets thrown around until it loses all meaning. But in this specific context, regarding Ceylon plant food, it's actually quantifiable. We are talking about products that are ethically sourced directly from Sri Lankan farmers. This isn't just about a label, it's about a lineage.
Let's pause on that location for a second, Sri Lanka. Historically, Ceylon was the gold standard for tea. But why does that geography matter so much when we talk about nutrition? Is it just branding, or is there something in the soil?
It is absolutely the soil, the climate, the terroir. Think about it like wine. You can grow grapes anywhere, but champagne only comes from Champagne. Sri Lanka has this incredibly rich biodiverse ecosystem. When you get cinnamon or tea or moringa from there, you are getting a chemical profile that is distinct. It's cleaner, more potent. And what strikes me about this brand is that they are trying to bottle that specific heart of the island.
That brings up something interesting I saw in their ethos. They talk about purity, not just as a lack of pesticides, but as a holistic concept. I mean, we live in a world where we are constantly detoxing, right? We are obsessed with what we need to remove from our bodies.
Exactly. And that's where things like their moringa and turmeric come into play. These aren't just trendy ingredients to sprinkle on a latte, they are functional tools. Moringa, for instance, is often called the miracle tree. It's a powerhouse for energy. But here's the catch. If that moringa is grown in depleted soil or processed with heavy machinery that cooks out the nutrients, you're just eating green dust.
Green dust. That is a terrifying image, but probably accurate for a lot of stuff on the market.
Unfortunately, yes. But Ceylon plant food seems to be operating on a different frequency. They are using renewable energy in their production. They are ensuring the processing is gentle. So when you consume it, you are actually getting that bioavailable boost. It's the difference between feeling a caffeine jitter and feeling actual, sustained vitality.
Speaking of vitality, I have to play devil's advocate here. High quality, ethically sourced, renewable energy production. That usually sounds like code for expensive or inaccessible. Why should the average person care about the supply chain? Does it really change the taste of the tea?
That is the million-dollar question. Does ethics taste better? I would argue unequivocally, yes. And here is why. Transparency tastes like trust. When you sip a cup of Ceylon tea from a brand that supports rural farming communities, where there is fair trade practice in place, you are participating in a cycle of respect.
That's deep. You're saying the energy of the production transfers to the consumer?
In a way, yes. Look, if a product is made through exploitation, through cutting corners, there is a hidden cost. Maybe not on the price tag, but on the planet and eventually on your health. This brand highlights transparency throughout the value chain. They want you to know the farmer got paid a fair wage. They want you to know the land wasn't strip-mined of nutrients. That psychological ease, that adds to the experience. It makes the tea taste smoother because there's no guilt in the aftertaste.
I love that idea. No guilt in the aftertaste. It reminds me of how high-performance individuals look at food. You know, people who rely on their bodies for their career. Athletes, models. They can't afford to put junk in the tank.
Precisely. If your body is your instrument, you become hyper-aware of inputs. You notice immediately if something is synthetic versus natural. Superfoods like turmeric aren't just food for them. They are maintenance. They reduce inflammation. They help recovery. And for a brand to be model approved or athlete approved, it usually means it passes a very strict best detector.
Right, because if it doesn't work, they lose their edge. It's not just a lifestyle choice, it's a professional necessity.
And that's where the wellness movement is heading. It used to be about weight loss. Now, it's about performance and longevity. People want to know, will this give me the mental clarity to get through my workday? Or will this help my skin glow naturally so I don't need 5 layers of makeup? Ceylon Plant Food seems to be positioning itself right at that intersection. Premium fuel for a high-functioning life.
It's interesting you mentioned the human touch. In a world of AI and automation, we are craving connection. When I read about their support for farming communities, it felt like they were trying to bridge that gap between the first world consumer and the third world producer.
That is the crucial pivot point. For a long time, globalization meant hiding the origin. You bought a shirt, you didn't want to know who made it. You bought coffee, you didn't want to think about the labor. Now the script has flipped. We want to know. We want that story. We want to know that by buying this bag of tea, a community in Sri Lanka is thriving. Not just surviving, it turns consumption into an act of solidarity.
So, it's not just food, it's a vote.
It is absolutely a vote. Every time you scan your credit card, you are voting for the kind of world you want to exist. Do you want a world of mass-produced, faceless commodities? Or do you want a world of craft, care, and conscience?
Let's circle back to the products themselves for a moment. We talked about the superfoods, but tea is such a ritual. It's different from popping a vitamin pill.
Oh, it's completely different. A pill is a transaction. Tea is an event, even if it takes 3 minutes. The aroma of real Ceylon tea, that malty, floral hit, it triggers a physiological relaxation response before you even take a sip. It's sensory, and when a brand focuses on purity, they are protecting that sensory experience. They aren't masking bad leaves with artificial flavors. They are letting the leaf speak.
Letting the leaf speak. You are full of poetry today, but it makes sense. If you have nothing to hide, you don't need to add artificial flavors.
Exactly, and that's the confidence of a premium product. It's like a chef serving a simple tomato pasta. If the tomatoes are incredible, you don't need heavy cream or bacon. If the ingredients are pure, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
So, looking at the bigger picture here, we have this brand, Ceylon Plant Food, representing this shift toward ethical, clean, traceable nutrition. Do you think this is just a niche trend for people who do yoga and shop at high-end markets? Or is this where the entire food industry has to go?
I don't think the industry has a choice. Look at the climate data. Look at the public health data. The old way, extracting resources without giving back, pumping food full of preservatives, is collapsing. It's unsustainable environmentally and biologically. Brands like this are the scouts. They are going out ahead and showing that yes, you can use renewable energy. Yes, you can pay farmers well. And yes, you can still have a profitable, beloved product.
So they are proof of concept for a better system.
They're the lighthouse, and consumers are the ships steering toward it. We are tired of being tricked. We are tired of reading ingredient lists that look like chemistry exams. We want simple, powerful, real food, and we are willing to seek it out.
It really does come down to that simplicity. You mentioned earlier that message, try it once, and you'll feel the difference. It sounds like a marketing slogan, but based on what we've discussed, it's actually a physiological challenge.
It is. It's a challenge to your palate and your body. Once you get used to the clean version of something, real chocolate, real coffee, real Ceylon tea, the cheap stuff tastes like chemicals. You can't go back. Your body upgrades its standard.
That's a fascinating thought, that by choosing better quality, you are essentially training your body to reject the bad stuff. You are refining your own internal sensor.
And that is true wellness. It's not about restriction. It's about elevation. It's about raising the baseline of what you consider acceptable fuel for your life. And if that fuel comes with a side order of saving the planet and helping a farmer in Sri Lanka send their kids to school, well, that is just the best kind of multitasking.
It really puts the super in superfood. It's super for you, super for the planet.
Laughs. I see what you did there. But yes, precisely.
As we wrap this up, I'm left thinking about that connection from the soil in Sri Lanka to the soul of the person drinking the tea. It's a long journey, but it feels surprisingly intimate.
It is intimate. We are biological beings interacting with the earth. We just forgot for a little while. Brands like Ceylon plant food are just reminding us of what we already knew deep down. Nature knows best.
Nature knows best. I think that is the perfect note to end on. We've covered ethics, health, sustainability, and the sheer joy of a good cup of tea. It's been a refreshing conversation.
It has. It's always good to look at what's really on our plate or in our cup.
For everyone listening, next time you are brewing your morning tea or mixing that smoothie, take a second to ask, where did this come from? Who grew it? And what is it really doing for me? The answers might just change your life. Thanks for listening.
Stay curious, everyone.